All right, so today we're uncorking a bottle of knowledge and taking a deep dive into the world of Barolo and Barbaresco.
Ooh, sounds delicious
I
already.
know, right? Those legendary Italian wines from the Piedmont region.
Ah, yes, Piedmont, the land of Nebbiolo.
Precisely. And we've got the ultimate guide right here, Barolo y Barbaresco.
This book, it's a fantastic resource. You really get a feel for the depth of these wines.
From the roots of the Nebbiolo grape all the way to the bottle, and even a glimpse into the minds of the winemakers.
It really paints a vivid picture.
So what we're aiming for today is to understand what makes these wines so special.
Their history, of course.
Oh, absolutely. But also the magic behind their creation. And of course, we can't forget about food pairings.
Because what's a great wine without the perfect dish to complement it?
Exactly. Now get this. These wines are nicknamed the King and Queen of Italian wines.
The King and Queen. Wow, that's a pretty impressive title.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's this mysterious connection to fog, believe it or not.
Fog? Now that's intriguing. I'm already hooked.
Me too. And apparently, patience is key when it comes to enjoying them.
Patience, you say?
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for a lesson in patience then.
Perfect. So let's start with the heart of it all. The Nebbiolo grape. Both Barolo and Barbaresco are made entirely from this single grape.
So it's like the star of the show, the prima donna.
You could say that. Nebbiolo, it's been growing in Piedmont for centuries.
Since the 13th century, in fact.
Mhm.
And, there's a theory about its name.
Go on, tell me.
Well, it might come from the Italian word for fog, nebbia.
Really? So like actual fog?
Exactly. Imagine those vineyards shrouded in mist, especially during harvest in the fall.
It's almost poetic, but I've also heard it could refer to the grape itself, right?
Oh, yes. There's this whitish bloom on the ripe grapes, almost like a fog.
Fascinating. So we've got this grape named after fog. What about the wine itself? What makes Nebbiolo so special in the glass?
Well, Nebbiolo, it's known for being a bit temperamental. Late ripening, for starters.
A late bloomer. Dramatic.
Indeed. Then you've got these small bunches with thick skins.
Ah, so that's where those famous tannins come from.
Precisely. High tannins and high acidity. That's what gives Barolo and Barbaresco their incredible structure.
And that aging potential. These wines are meant for the long haul.
They are. But we can't forget about another crucial element. Terroir.
Terroir. It's all about location, 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 isn't it?
It is. And Nebbiolo, it's incredibly sensitive to its environment. Soil, climate, altitude, everything plays a role.
So like the same grape in a different vineyard can produce a completely different wine.
Absolutely. Take the Canubi Cru in Barolo, for instance.
Canubi. I've heard that name whispered with reverence.
And for good reason. That unique soil, a mix of limestone and clay.
It gives the wines a very specific character.
It does. Elegance, floral notes. It's like the land itself is signing its name on each bottle.
Wow. All right, so we've got this dramatic grape named after fog, and it's super picky about where it grows.
That's Nebbiolo in a nutshell.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the wines themselves, starting with Barolo, the king of wines. What makes it so regal?
Where to even begin? Barolo, it's known for its power, its intensity, its ability to age gracefully for decades.
I've heard some can age for a lifetime.
It's true. And the region itself, it's nestled in the Langa zone, hilly, continental climate, perfect for Nebbiolo.
But then within Barolo, you have these crus, right?
Ah, the cruise. Now things are getting really interesting.
I've heard the term, but I'm still not entirely sure what it means.
Think of them as the grand estates within the Barolo kingdom. Specific vineyard sites recognized for centuries for their exceptional wines.
So each cru has its own unique character.
Precisely. Canubi, Brunate, Serricchio. Each one with its own personality.
Due to those subtle differences in soil, altitude, and sun exposure.
Exactly. You could taste a Barolo from each cru and immediately recognize its origin. It's fascinating.
It's like a whole world of nuance just within Barolo. And then we have the 11 communes within the Barolo DOCG.
11 communes, each contributing to the tapestry of Barolo.
It's overwhelming, but in the best way possible.
It is. You have Barolo itself, the namesake commune, known for its elegance and complexity.
Then there's Lamora. I've heard their wines are a bit more approachable.
They are fruit-forward, charming, and then there's Serlanga d'Alba.
Home to some of the most age-worthy Barolos, right?
The ones that demand patience. Wines that will reward you after years in the cellar.
So it's like meeting the members of a royal family, each with their own story to tell.
I love that analogy.
And to ensure we're dealing with the true royalty of Barolo, we have the DOCG regulations, right?
Ah, yes, the family crest.
Hmm.
They guarantee the authenticity and quality of Barolo.
They dictate everything from the grapes to the aging requirements.
It's all about preserving the integrity of Barolo.
Now let's shake things up a bit. The debate that's been swirling around Barolo for years, traditional versus modern winemaking styles.
Ooh, yes.
Hmm.
This is where things get spicy.
So what's the heart of this battle?
Well, it comes down to the approach, how the winemakers handle those precious Nebbiolo grapes from harvest to bottle.
The traditionalists, they believe in long maceration, right?
They do. Weeks of soaking the skins, extracting every bit of color and tannin.
And aging in those massive old Slavonian oak casks.
Ah, the casks. They impart subtle spicy notes, allow for slow oxidation.
It all adds to the wine's longevity.
And the result? A Barolo that's built to age gracefully for decades. Powerful, structured, traditional.
And then we have the modernists.
The rebels. They've embraced new techniques. Shorter maceration, temperature-controlled fermentation, aging in smaller French oak barrels.
So a bit more intervention, a bit more control.
Exactly. It's about shaping the wine, making it more approachable in its youth.
So a modern Barolo might be softer, more fruit-forward, ready to enjoy sooner.
It might be, but it's still a Barolo, with all the complexity and depth that comes with it.
It's like comparing a formal portrait to a candid snapshot, both capturing the essence of Barolo.
A brilliant way to put it.
Now, I'm dying to know about Barbaresco, the queen. How does she hold her own against the king?
Well, Barbaresco, it's still Nebbiolo, but it's often described as the more elegant sibling to Barolo.
Elegant, like a queen, maybe.
Exactly. Think grace, finesse,
Hmm.
subtle charm.
I like it. But what gives Barbaresco this elegant personality? Is it terroir again?
Terroir is always key, you know that. But Barbaresco's terroir, it's a bit different.
Different how?
Well, the soils are a bit sandier. And then there's the Tenoro River. Its influence is subtle but noticeable.
So a lighter touch, maybe? More finesse in the glass?
Precisely. Barbaresco tends to have lighter tannins, brighter fruit.
Some say it has a more feminine character compared to Barolo.
There's definitely a certain delicacy to it, like a dance compared to Barolo Symphony.
And like Barolo, Barbaresco has its own set of communes, right?
That's right. 4 communes, each adding its unique touch to the final wine.
4 communes, huh? So tell me about them.
Well, you have Naive, Barbaresco itself, Treso, and San Rocco San Odelvio.
Those names just roll off the tongue, don't they?
They do. Each one brings subtle variations in soil, climate, the whole terroir package.
So tell me, what sets them apart?
Well, take Naive, for instance. Their wines are known for structure, aging potential.
Ah, so a bit more like Barolo in that sense.
In a way, yes. While Barbaresco itself, the namesake commune, tends to be more approachable, fruit-forward.
Okay, I'm starting to see the nuances here. And of course, Barbaresco also falls under the DOCG regulations.
Absolutely. Got to protect that queen's identity.
Right. So those regulations ensure authenticity and quality.
Precisely. And just like Barolo, Barbaresco producers are exploring different styles, blending tradition with a touch of modernity.
Finding that balance, huh?
Exactly. Now, I understand it can be a bit overwhelming. So many choices, so many producers. Where do you even start?
I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit lost. Help a novice out here.
Well, think of it as a treasure hunt. Each bottle a unique glimpse into the world of Nebbiolo.
Ooh, I like that. A treasure hunt. So where do we begin our search?
Let's meet the masterminds behind these wines, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
Let's start with Barolo and a true legend, Giacomo Conterno.
Giacomo Conterno, the name itself commands respect in the wine world.
Their wines are monumental, they truly are. The kind that can age for decades, even a lifetime.
What's their secret?
Tradition, my friend. They focus on showcasing the pure expression of Nebbiolo, the essence of their unique terroir.
I've heard about their aging process, those massive old Slavonian oak casks.
Ah, yes. The casks. They're like cradles, allowing the wine to slowly unfold its complexity over time.
It's almost poetic, isn't it?
It is. They believe in long maceration, extracting every bit of flavor from those Nebbiolo skins.
And their flagship wine, the Monfortino Reserva, I hear it's legendary.
The Monfortino, only made in exceptional vintages. A Barolo that embodies power, structure, longevity.
Truly a wine for the ages.
It is. Now let's move on to another icon, Bruno Giacosa. His wines are known for their ethereal elegance.
Ah, Bruno Giacosa. I've heard whispers of his wines. Ethereal, you say.
Exactly. Giacosa, he believed in minimal intervention, letting the grape and the terroir speak for themselves.
A hands-off approach, huh?
Precisely. His Barolos are known for their balance, aromatic complexity, silky tannins.
I've heard they're incredibly pure, like a whisper of Barolo.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And he was a champion of single vineyard Barolos, too.
Showcasing those unique crusts, right?
Exactly. He believed that each vineyard had its own story to tell.
Wines like his Folletto and Le Roche, they're true expressions of terroir.
Absolutely. Each one a masterpiece in its own right.
Now let's talk about someone who shook things up in Barolo, Elio Alter.
Ah, Eleolater, the rebel. He dared to challenge tradition, brought a new perspective to Barolo.
I've heard he was a pioneer of the modern style.
He was. Eleolater embraced new techniques, made Barolo more approachable for a new generation.
So his wines are more fruit-forward, softer tannins.
It can be. He focused on making wines that were delicious and accessible, ready to drink a bit younger.
And his Barolo Arborina, that's a great example of his style, right? Right.
It is. The Arborina is full of life, bursting with cherry and floral aromas, a true expression of modern Barolo.
I'm definitely adding that to my list. Now let's talk about Paolo Scavino. I've heard they have a meticulous approach to winemaking.
Paolo Scavino is a family-run winery, deeply passionate about Barolo.
They're known for their single vineyard bottlings, right?
They are. They believe each crew has a unique personality, and they strive to capture that in their wines.
Wines like their Canubi and Brick del Fiesque, they're highly sought after.
And for good reason. They truly reflect the essence of each vineyard.
It's like they're painting a portrait of Barolo one crew at a time.
I love that. Now, let's move on to another visionary, Renato Ratti.
Renato Ratti, the pioneer of crew mapping in Barolo.
Precisely. He understood the profound impact of terroir back in the 1960s.
He was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
He was. He meticulously mapped the Barolo region, identifying the best vineyard sites.
And his work helped to establish the reputation of single vineyard Barolos.
Absolutely. His maps are still used today. They're that influential. And his own wines, they're exceptional.
Wines like his Marcinasco and Roche, they're true expressions of his vision.
They are. Now let's cross over to Barbaresco and meet a producer that's truly unique. Produttori del Barbaresco.
Produttori del Barbaresco, that's a mouthful. What's special about them?
They're a cooperative, a group of small grape growers working together.
Ah, so a team effort.
Exactly. They pool their resources, share their knowledge, and create wines that represent the very best of Barbaresco.
It's like a community coming together to celebrate their shared passion.
It is. And the Barbaresco Asili, it's considered one of the benchmarks of the region.
So a must-try for anyone exploring Barbaresco.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can't talk about Barbaresco without mentioning the iconic name, Gaia.
Gaggia. Their wines are world-renowned. What makes them so special?
Gaggia is a family-run winery with a long and prestigious history. They've played a pivotal role in shaping Barbaresco.
They're known for their powerful, elegant wines.
Precisely. They combine traditional methods with a touch of modern innovation.
And their single vineyard wines, like the Sori Tilden, are highly sought after.
They're truly exceptional, showcasing the power and elegance of Barbaresco at its finest.
Now, we can't forget Angelo Gaggia himself, the visionary winemaker behind it all.
Angelo Gaggia, he's a legend. He's always pushing the boundaries, experimenting, innovating.
I've heard his wines can be quite unconventional.
They can be, but they're always extraordinary. Wines like his Spurs, Costa Russi, and Sori San Lorenzo are true masterpieces.
So we've met the titans, the legends of Barolo and Barbaresco.
And this is just the beginning. There's a whole new generation of winemakers emerging, bringing fresh perspectives and ideas.
A new generation. Now that's exciting. I can't wait to meet them. Okay, I'm ready for this new generation. Who's first on our list?
Let's start with Chiara Bassis of E. Piri and Figli. Back to Barolo for this one.
Chiara Bassi. She's one of the few female winemakers in Barolo, right?
She is. And her wines, there's something special. Really captivating.
I've heard they're incredibly elegant, refined, but still powerful.
Exactly. A beautiful balance. You can really taste her passion for Nebbiolo in every bottle.
And she focuses on single vineyard Barolos.
She does. From some of the most prestigious crusts, like Canubi and Mosconi.
So if you're looking for complexity, silky tannins, balance...
Chiara Bassis is the one to seek out.
Sounds like it. Now, what about Soretto? I know they've been around for a while.
Soretto is a fascinating case. A family-run winery with a long history in the region. but they're not afraid to innovate.
So a blend of tradition and modernity.
Exactly. They're also leading the charge in sustainable winemaking practices.
That's fantastic. Sustainability is so important these days.
It is Soreto. They're doing it all. Organic and biodynamic farming, water conservation, renewable energy.
Even sustainable packaging.
They're really thinking about the future.
And their wines, what can we expect from a bottle of Soreto?
They produce both Barolo and Barbaresco. And their wines, they're all about elegance, complexity, a sense of place.
So a wide range, from classic to single vineyard.
Yes, you'll find something for every taste.
Now I'm curious about Rwanda. They're known for their traditional approach, right?
Rwanda, they're like stepping back in time. A truly traditional approach, both in the vineyard and the cellar.
So we're talking minimal intervention.
Minimalist to the core. Indigenous yeasts, large old casks, they let nature do its thing.
The results must be pretty amazing.
They are. Their wines are pure, authentic, incredibly age-worthy.
I bet they're highly sought after.
Oh, definitely. Especially their single vineyard bottlings, like Pura and Asili.
We've covered so much ground today. From the history of Nebbiolo to the nuances of Barolo and Barbaresco, we've met the legends, the rising stars.
It's been a whirlwind tour.
It has. And I'm feeling inspired to go out and explore these wines for myself. But before I do, any advice on actually tasting Barolo and Barbaresco? What should I be looking for?
That's a great question. Remember, Nebbiolo transforms over time, so pay attention to the appearance.
You mean the color?
Exactly. A young Nebbiolo will have a vibrant ruby color.
Like a precious gem.
But as it ages, that ruby deepens into garnet, sometimes with hints of brick red at the edges.
It's like watching the wine evolve before your eyes. And the aromas.
Ah, the aromas. In a young Barolo or Barbaresco, you'll often find bright red fruit. Cherries, raspberries.
Makes sense. And as they age?
Those fruits become dried, almost jammy. Then come the spices, licorice, clove, cinnamon.
I can almost smell it now. And with those really old ones?
You might even get those earthy, truffle-like aromas.
That sounds incredible. And what about the taste?
Nebbiolo is known for its tannins. Especially in Barolo, you'll feel that dryness, that grip on your tongue.
So a bit of a challenge for the palate.
At first, maybe. But those tannins soften over time. They integrate with the fruit and acidity.
It's a balancing act.
Exactly. And as the wine ages, those flavors become even more complex, layered.
So patience is key. These wines are a journey.
They are. And a few sommelier tips to help you along the way.
Okay, tell me everything.
First, serve them at the right temperature. Not too warm, around 60, 65 degrees.
And decanting is always a good idea, right?
Especially for older wines. It lets those aromas open up, the tannins soften.
So give them a little breathing room.
Exactly. But most importantly, be present. Really pay attention to how the wine evolves in the glass.
Take your time, savor each sip.
Exactly. Barolo and Barbaresco are wines that reward a mindful approach.
Now, what about the future of these wines? The world is changing. Climate change is a real concern.
It is. But these producers are resilient, they're adapting, experimenting with different grape varieties, new techniques.
Finding ways to preserve the quality, even as the climate changes.
Exactly. And sustainability is becoming increasingly important.
Consumers are definitely more conscious of these things now.
They are. And Barolo and Barbaresco producers are stepping up. Organic farming, biodynamic methods, water conservation.
It's inspiring to see them taking such a proactive approach.
They're protecting their heritage for future generations. Now, why should you, the listener, care about Barolo and Barbaresco?
That's a big question.
These wines, they offer a glimpse into a world of history, culture, passion.
They're more than just a drink, they're an experience.
Exactly. They remind us that great things take time, patience, respect for tradition.
They're an invitation to slow down, savor the moment, appreciate the beauty of craftsmanship.
And who knows, you might just discover your new favorite wine along the way.
That's the perfect note to end on. So if you're feeling adventurous, seek out a bottle of Barolo or Barbaresco. Take your time, savor each sip, and enjoy the journey. And be sure to share your experiences with us. Cheers to the world of wine.